بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه. أما بعد، يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. ثم أما بعد، Alhamdulillah ala ni'mat al-Islami wa sunnah. All praise and thanks belong to Allah for guiding us to Islam and for guiding us to the sunnah. Alhamdulillah, we continue going over the tremendous book by the Fadilat al-Shaykh Al-Allama Imam bin Baz rahimahullahu ta'ala, reading that tremendous book which is entitled Durus al-Muhimma li'amat al-Ummah, important lessons for the general masses of the Ummah or for every Muslim. We are on the section still dealing with the introduction to the section that goes over the Arkanul Iman, the pillars of Iman, commonly translated as the articles of faith. The articles of faith. The Fadilat al-Shaykh Abdul bin Shaykh Abdul Muhsin al-Badr hafidhahumullah ta'ala, he mentions, he says, وَقَدْ دَلَّ الْكِتَابُ وَالسُّنَّةِ على أن الإيمان يقوم على أركان ستة, that the book and the sunnah point to the fact that Iman, faith, is built upon 6 pillars. Is built upon 6 pillars. What are those pillars? Give me one. Belief in Allah, Naam, and belief in the angels, and belief in the books, and belief in the messengers, and heard another one, in the day of resurrection, and 6th, Qadr, belief in Qadr, khayrihi wa sharrih, Naam, the good and the bad. But these pillars, they emanate from the book and from the sunnah. Now that we know that these are the pillars of Iman as they come inside of the book and they come inside of the sunnah. وَقَدْ عَرَفْنَا أَنَّ الرُّكْنَ هُوَ جَانِبُ الشَّيْءِ جَانِبُ الشَّيْءِ الْأَقْوَى الَّذِي لَا قِيَامَ لِلشَّيْءِ إِلَّا عَلَيْهِ. And we know that a pillar, then these are the sides of a thing, or the extremities, the extremities of a thing in which it sits upon, the extremities of something that is strong and which it sits upon, of which it is not established except on top of it. Naam. Like for example, the legs of this table. Naam, this table sits upon legs. If one of these legs were to fail, then the table will topple. It won't stand, it will topple. Naam. So likewise, these pillars of Iman, if one of them falls, they all fall. If one of them falls, they all fall. Naam, as we'll come to see, bi'ithnillahi ta'ala. The Shaykh he mentions, he says, for arkanul iman, here, da'aim al-iman, wa usulihi, wa a'midatuh. That, نعم, وأصوله وأعمدته التي عليها يرتكز. That the pillars of Iman, then they are the foundation of Iman. This is the foundation of Iman. The pillars of Iman, of which Iman is built upon it. In which Iman is built upon it. Naam. And it is incumbent to know, as some of the ulama they mention, that the terminology that is used for the pillars of Iman, the pillars of Islam, so on and so forth, it is not to be understood that these pillars are something that is outside of what they are pillars for. So the pillars of Islam are not outside of Islam, but rather they are the foundations of Islam. Likewise, the pillars of Iman, they are not something that is outside of Iman and foreign to Iman but just related to Iman. No, these are the foundations of Iman. The foundations of Iman. Does that make sense? Make sense? Right. The Shaykh goes on and he mentions, he says, فَلَا قِيَامَ لِلْإِيمَانِ إِلَّا عَلَيْهَا. The Iman cannot and will never be established except upon these pillars. Except upon these pillars. وَهِيَ أُصُولٌ سِتَّةٌ جَاءَ تبيانها في كتاب الله عز وجل وفي سنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. وهي إيمان بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله ويوم الآخر والإيمان بالقدر خيره وشره. That Iman, the foundation of Iman, then there are 6, as it has come inside and have been made clear inside of the book of Allah and in the sunnah of His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And they are Iman in Allah, in His angels, in His books, in His messengers, in the last day, and in Iman in Qadr, the good of it and the bad of it. Bila shak bila rayb, because many of the people, they often mention that they need more lessons that deal with their day-to-day life. Naam, how to cope living in this world, how to cope living inside of the lands of the kuffar specifically. And undoubtedly, the likes of these lessons, then this is the source of what you need day to day. Naam. The likes of this is the source of what we need day to day. And don't let the shaitan trick you into believing, oh, we know that's easy, we need to go beyond it. Because this is not the case, and this is from the trick of shaitan. But rather, the more understanding we have of these pillars, the more our Iman will increase. And an individual that has high Iman, then they are able to cope and to deal with the troubles of this life, the difficulties of this life. They're able to properly deal with prosperity and the enjoyment of this life, so on and so forth. The more a person increases in having knowledge about these things, the more enriched their day-to-day life will become. Inshallah ta'ala, we'll come back to this point and we'll look at it, but I really wanted to stress that, because this is the foundation of what we need in our day-to-day life. This is the foundation of what we need in our day-to-day life, or should we say from the foundations of what we need in our day-to-day life. Now, the Shaykh Yuzani mentions, he says, وَهِيَ أُصُولٌ اتَّفَقَ الْأَنْبِيَاء كُلُّهُمْ مِنْ أَوَّلِهِمْ إِلَى آخِرِهِمْ على دعوة إليها, that these pillars are pillars that are agreed upon. That are agreed upon by who? They are agreed upon by every prophet. Naam. They are agreed upon by every prophet, and thus subsequently what? Every messenger. Right? Why do we say that? Why do we say every messenger? Because every messenger was what?
Every messenger came with Tawheed.
Naam, every messenger came with Tawheed. That's true. It's not the answer I'm looking for though.
Every messenger is a prophet.
Naam, Ahsant. Every messenger is a prophet. But what? But not every prophet is a messenger. So by the Shaykh saying that this was the da'wah of all of the anbiya, of all of the prophets, and this includes all of the prophets and messengers. Naam. All of the prophets and all of the messengers, they came calling their people to these articles or these pillars of faith. All of them. Naam. And it's important that we understand this. Now, we say, and this is true, all of the prophets and the messengers, they came calling their people to Tawheed. Naam. Bila shak wa bila rayb. No doubt. This is what they did. Right? But it must, and we say that, and the ulama, they mention that to stress that point. But this does not mean that they differed in everything else. No. They all came calling their people to Tawheed first and foremost, no doubt. But they all had the same aqidah. They all taught their people the same creed. They had the same aqidah, the same belief. That same belief that stems from these 6 pillars of faith. All of them taught their people that same belief. The same exact belief. And it's important for us to know and to understand this. That the iman is... that the aqidah, the creed, the creed is the truth. And truth, it does not change, it does not evolve, so on and so forth. That makes sense? It's that same truth. In truth, it does not change, it does not evolve. So you won't find that Adam alayhi salatu wasalam had an aqidah that was different from the aqidah of Idris. Idris alayhi salatu wasalam, he did not have an aqidah that was different from the aqidah of Musa or Nuh or Ibrahim or Yusuf or Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam. They all had the same aqidah. Naam, they all had the same aqidah. And this is what is meant, as the Shaykh he brings, the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, where he says, Al-Anbiya ikhwatun li'allat ummahatuhum shatta wa dinuhum wahid. Naam. This hadith mutafaqun alayh. من حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه, where the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said that the prophets are brothers, but what do you say? It's like paternal brothers from the father side, right? Paternal brothers, or I don't know if that's a proper term or not, but that's what's coming to my mind right now. So that's what we're going to go with. Brothers from the father side, right? That's what they mean. Paternal brothers. Like, their mothers are different, but their religion is one. Their mothers are different, but their religion is one. Naam. What does that mean? The religion is one. Meaning, aqidatuhum wahida. That their aqidah is one. They had the same belief system. Same belief system. Musa alayhi salam, he didn't teach his people about a Jannah that differed from what Muhammad sallallahu taught us about. Naam, Jannah is Jannah. They didn't warn their people from a fire that was different than what the Prophet sallallahu warned us from. The fire is the fire. Naam. They all warned against Dajjal. You see? So on and so forth. So the aqidah is what? Is one. The aqidah is one. The Shaykh goes on, he says, the aqidah, ay aqidatuhum wahida wa usuluhum wahida. The aqidah is one. The fundamental principles of their aqidah is one. ولهذا يقول العلماء إن الأمور الاعتقاد والأصول الديانة ليست مما يدخله النسخ Thus the ulama, they mention that the affairs of aqidah and the fundamentals of the religion, then these are not affairs that are subject to abrogation. These are not issues that are subject to abrogation. نعم لا في شريعة النبي الواحد ولا بين نبي آخر. Meaning that the issues of aqidah, you won't find that they come in the sharia of one prophet, but not in the sharia of another prophet. But when it came to the aqidah, they all had the same aqidah. The aqidah was in every sharia. The same aqidah was in every sharia. Naam. And this here shows you the reality of the truth. This here shows you the reality of the truth. And this shows you that Islam is the haqq. That Islam is the haqq. There was once a Christian, right, who tried to engage me in conversation, really in da'wah, right? And I posed him a very simple question. Well, I posed to that Christian, we should say, a very simple question. And that question was, do you believe that truth is consistent? That truth is truth. Do you believe this? And they said, at first they said yes. Yes. I said, so for example, you believe that truth is universal. So 2 plus 2 always equals 4, correct? They said yes. I said, was there ever a time that 2 plus 2 equaled 3.5? They said no. I said, what about, do you think in the future, could 2 plus 2 equal 5? Maybe 2,000 years from now, it can equal 5 then? They said no. 2 plus 2 always is 4. I said, because truth is universal, correct? They said yes. I said, you see, this is why it's a problem for us Muslims as relates to your creed. This is why we as Muslims don't believe in your creed and your doctrine. They said, why? I said, because according to you, your creed changed with time. It evolved. They said, what do you mean? I said, when you look in your book, you don't find in the Old Testament, you don't find in the Torah, you don't find in the teachings of Musa that he taught you to pray in the name of Jesus. You don't find this. You don't find mention of Jesus being the Son of Allah, or of Allah being one of three, Trinity. You don't find this. You don't find this with Musa. You don't find this with Ibrahim. You don't find this with Yaqub. You don't find this with Idris. You don't find. I said, in reality, you don't even find it with Isa. I said, but when you look into the books of Paul, then you find this. And this is what the church has adopted. I said, so now, how do we explain this? Are you telling me that Ibrahim didn't know about the Trinity and didn't know that teaches people to pray in the name of Jesus? Is that what you're saying? So be honest, is that what you're saying? And they had to say, well, you're right. He didn't teach his people that. You don't find mention of that. I said, but yet we find later mention of it, correct? They said, yes. I said, so truth changed? Did truth change? They thought about it for a real quick second. It was a setup, but they didn't catch it. They said, yeah, it changed. I said, so it evolved then? They said, well, yeah, I guess you put it like that, then truth evolved. I said, but that contradicts what you aforementioned to me, because you said truth doesn't evolve. It doesn't change. Truth is truth. It remains consistent. This is what you said. Now you're saying it changes. I said, see, this is why we don't accept Christianity. Because truth don't change. Truth is consistent. The aqeedah is the same. Right? I said, so this is an indication that what Paul taught you is incorrect, because you had centuries upon centuries upon centuries of the prophets telling you to worship Allah and Allah alone, and then all of a sudden Paul come and he said, no, there's three, there's a Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. No, now you pray in the name of Jesus, you bless your food in the name of Jesus, so on and so forth. Now Paul come and teach you this. So now who's going to be right, Paul or all of these millennium of message from the Anbiya and the Rusul? Who do you think is correct? I said, you don't have to answer. See, this is why I'm not a Christian. You see? So this shows you, alhamdulillah, as Muslims, what we are upon is the haqq. What we are upon is the truth. Now, what we are upon is the truth. Now, I'm saying to say this, is that what? Is that we live in a society where a lot of the people, it's so glittery out there. You know, the way of the kuffar, the lifestyle, this and that, it seems so sparkly and so glittery and so on and so forth, right? You know, an inferno is also very bright and sparkling, has embers coming off of it, it looks nice, right? From a distance. But that's something you really want to touch and experience? No, not at all. So not everything that shines is gold. You understand? But when we understand the reality of the situation, that when it comes to things this fundamental, they got the fundamental things so wrong, how can you trust anything else that comes from them? Right? It's like if a mathematician comes to you and he's just bombing on arithmetic, simple arithmetic, he's bombing on it. But then he wants to convince you that these complex equations, he's solving them correctly. You're gonna doubt that. How you solving that correctly and you don't know simple arithmetic? I can't go with that. The most important things in life, they get wrong, and they want us to believe that everything else with their lifestyle is correct? No way. No way. Not a chance. Not a chance. Right? But it's important that we as Muslims remember this, because at times we can get confused. It's important we remember. It's important we teach our children. It's important we teach our children to know and to understand that what they have is a ni'mah. Alhamdulillah, the call, the aqidah of the prophets and the messengers is one. The creed is one. Na'am. So the creed is not subject to abrogation. إنما النسخ يكون في الشرائع والأحكام. But rather abrogation, then this, what is subject to it are the legal rules, are the legal rulings and the legality and jurisprudence of a legislation, of a sharia. These are subject to change. Why? Because the rules came down specific for that particular affair or that particular nation, that which would benefit that particular nation, right? And the rules of what you can and can't do were appropriate for each nation due to their situations. So you'll find changes in the jurisprudence from one nation to another nation, right? But as far as the belief system is one. The belief system is one. That makes sense? Naam. Right. Allah Ta'ala, the person will say, what's the proof of this? Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, as relates to the aqidah, we know the aqidah is one. They didn't call it to a different aqidah, so that part is established. Okay, now what about there being different legislations? That the legislation from this prophet or this messenger may differ from the legislation of that messenger. Now, what's the proof of this? Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, inside his notebook, he says, لِكُلٍّ جَعَلْنَا مِنْكُمْ شَرِيعَةً وَمِنْهَاجًا. And for everyone from amongst you, meaning for every nation, we have made for them a legislation and a methodology. So every nation had their legislation, it had their methodology, which may differ from the legislation and methodology of another nation. Now, and it thus is subject to abrogation. Correct? Okay. If a person comes now and he says, but wait, we found in some old scriptures, right? We found in some old scriptures that it said in their legislation, such and such and such and such was halal. For example, is that a proof? A previous legislation. A person comes and says, we found in a previous legislation that such and such and such and such is halal. And they try to use that as a proof. Is that a proof? No, it's not a proof. Why? Because the previous legislations have been abrogated by the final legislation, by the Sharia of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is why when Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, when he comes back, he's going to judge and rule by whose legislation? By the Sharia of who? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why? Because the Sharia that he was sent with is abrogated. It's abrogated. So when he comes back, he's not going to rule by his Sharia, because he knows his Sharia has been abrogated by the Sharia of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he's going to rule by the Sharia of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you reflect to the hadith where Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu was reading from pages from the Torah, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his face turned red. He got mad. His color changed in his face. He got mad. And Umar saw and recognized that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was mad. And he realized it was connected to what he was doing. Ala kulli hal, the Prophet ﷺ, he said what translated to him means is that what? He said if Musa were alive, he would have no choice but to follow me. Why? Because his sharia has been abrogated. Now you have to follow the new sharia that's been revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That makes sense? So the legislative laws, jurisprudence, so on and so forth, then this may be different. There may be certain things that are the same, then there are going to be aspects that are going to be different. Maybe certain things are the same, there are going to be aspects going to be different. For example, certain things that are different, we know the Yahud has certain foods that are permissible. It was made impermissible for them, due to them making unilateral decisions before it was revealed to them whether it was okay or not. They said it wasn't okay. So as a punishment, Allah made it forbidden for them. That makes sense? That was for them. But for us, we can eat those things. Why? Because that punishment is not on us because we didn't do what they did. So we can eat them. They couldn't in their time, but we can eat them in our time. Because they couldn't eat them as a punishment. As a punishment for them saying that things were haram before Allah revealed the ruling of that thing. So Allah punished them and made it forbidden for them. That makes sense? Nah. So in other words, a person can come to us and say, oh, but this, that, and that. And it's important to know, especially as it relates to the Jews, especially we live in a time where you have these individuals running around calling themselves Hebrew Israelites, and so on and so forth. I had a Hebrew Israelite person come up to me and try to talk to me about their foolishness, right? So as we're talking, and one thing you realize, they always harp on issues that are the most simple and trivial of issues you can harp on. Really. He tried to debate me, right? When he saw he couldn't win with, the black man is Allah's chosen people, and, you a Jew, real for real, you're not African, you're not African American. I'm like, oh, this is nonsense, man. Nonsense. This man is from Florida here somewhere telling me he's a Hebrew Jew. He's really from the 12th tribe. I said, what tribe? I don't know about from them tribe. Allah musta'an. Long story short, when he kept losing here, he want to ask me about shrimp. Y'all eat shrimp? Yeah, Salaam. Are you serious? This what's important to you? Yes, it's permissible. How are you saying it's permissible or not? Allah made it permissible. You see, you Jews, that's the problem with you. You understand? It's permissible, man. That's it. Whether you like it or not, it's permissible. Because Allah says it's permissible. The Prophet says it's permissible. This is that and this. Then he got mad at me. So you're not letting me talk. I said, no, because I don't hear what you got to say. No. This is, this is my program. I'm gonna give you da'wah. You ain't gonna come give me da'wah. I'm gonna give you da'wah. You don't want to hear my da'wah, then, that's it. Nothing else what you talking about. So he got mad. He left. He ain't want to talk no more. Okay, alhamdulillah. No problem. But the point is that these are one of the things they try to come with you with. So even if they were to bring forth a scripture and say they can't eat this and can't eat that, okay, that was abrogated. That was for them back then. It's not for us. Once the final revelation was revealed, the final sharia, it came, then it abrogated all of that. So now you look to what? You look to what is here. You look to the sharia of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Naam. طيب. على كل حال, the Shaykh says, وَأَمَّا عَقِيدَةً فَوَاحِدَةً, and the aqidah, it is one, it is واحدة. نعم. وَمَنْ يَقْرأ القرآن وَمَا قَصَّهُ اللَّهُ سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى تبارك وتعالى من خبر الأنبياء وذكر دعوتهم وما تقوم عليه من الأصول والأسس, يجد أن هذه الأصول بارزة في الدعوة الأنبياء الله ورسله عليهم الصلاة والسلام. He says is that if you were to look at what is mentioned inside of the Qur'an, where Allah Ta'ala mentions to us the stories, where Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, He mentions to us the stories and of the Anbiya, and He mentions their call and their da'wah to their people, you will find that their da'wah, it was built upon these fundamental principles and upon these foundations, meaning the foundation of Aqidah. The Aqidah was the same, and you will find that these fundamental principles, these pillars, they were extremely apparent in the call of the Anbiya and in the call of the Rusul alayhimus salatu wassalam. Naam. Also, we have to know that usul al-iman, the pillars of iman, mutalazima, mutarabita, is that the pillars of iman, they go together, they are connected. They are connected. Naam, they are connected. وَلَا يَنْفَكُّ بَعْضُهَا عَنْ بَعْضٍ. They are not disconnected from each other. They are not disconnected from each other. Al-iman بعضها يقتضي إيمان بباقي أو بباقيها. That the iman in one necessitates iman in the other. Belief in one necessitates belief in the other. وَكُفْرُ بِبَعْضِهَا أو بشيء منها كفر بها كلها. And disbelief in a portion of iman or something from iman is disbelief in all of iman. Naam, this is very important. Very important to understand. And in this way, is there a differentiation between the pillars of iman and the pillars of Islam? Because the pillars of Islam, if a person doesn't establish them, right, they don't do them. The pillars of Islam, do they leave Islam?
Yes. If the person doesn't establish the pillars of Islam, he leaves the religion.
All of them?
Yes. He has to uphold all of them. He cannot abandon any of them.
Anybody agree? Disagree?
He has to believe in all five of them.
No, I'm not saying not believe in them. Establish them, do them. If a person, for example, doesn't pay zakat, is he a kafir?
He has to establish zakat.
No, if he doesn't pay it.
If he doesn't pay it, he has to pay it.
No, he has to pay. But does he leave Islam if he doesn't pay? No. What about Hajj? He has the money to make Hajj, but he doesn't make Hajj. He has the money to make Hajj, he has the physical means to make Hajj, but he doesn't make Hajj. Is he a kafir? No. He's sinful, but he's not a kafir. What about if he doesn't fast on Ramadan? Is he a kafir? He's sinful, but he's not a kafir. Okay, what if he doesn't believe in the Shahadatain? No, he's a kafir. That's why I said all of them. No, if you don't believe in the Shahadatain, you're a kafir. Okay, what if you don't pray?
The person who abandons the salat abandons the religion.
Right. Person don't pray, then he's what? He's a kafir. Meaning that what? In general, not praying is kufr. In general, not praying is kufr. Now, the Muslim that falls into kufr, then it has to be proofs and evidences established. Yes. And then if he remains upon that, then he leave the deen.
Right, because the adillah has been brought to him.
Right, because the adillah has been brought to him. That makes sense? Okay, so if a person doesn't do the first two pillars, doesn't establish the first two pillars, then of course, they kuffar, right? Of Islam. But if they believe that fasting is obligatory, but they just don't fast, they still Muslim. Sinning Muslim, but they Muslim. If they believe zakat is obligatory, but they just don't pay zakat because they're stingy, they still Muslim. Sinning Muslim, bad Muslim, but they still Muslim nonetheless. If they believe that Hajj is obligatory, but they don't make Hajj, for whatever reason, excuses that they may bring, then they are sinful, bad Muslim, but they still Muslim, right? The pillars of Iman are not like that. It's different. If you disbelieve in one of the pillars of Iman, you disbelieve in what? All of them. Because they're connected. They're connected. Listen how the ulama explain, and they bring examples how they're connected. If you look at the order that the Prophet ﷺ, he brought the pillars of Iman inside of the Hadith of Jibreel. Who knows the order? Nah.
The order is to believe in Allah.
Nah, Tu'mina billah.
The order is after that to believe in the angels.
Nah, the angels.
After that is to believe in the revealed books.
The books.
And after that, to believe in the messengers.
The messengers.
And after that, to believe in the day of judgment.
Day of judgment.
And after that, Qadr.
Qadr. You see the order? Now see how the ulama explain, look how they're connected. Belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, have to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But next is what? The angels. Have to believe in the angels. The angels are the ones who bring what? Huh? They bring the
message.
The message or the books. They bring the books to who? The messengers. So what's next? The messengers. Right? So you see now, if you disbelieve in one, it crumbles everything else. Person, I believe in Allah, but he don't believe in the angels. If you don't believe in the angels, then how you believe in the books? Right? A person say, okay, I believe in the angels, but I believe in the books, but I don't believe in the messengers. Okay, if you don't believe in the messengers, then who are the books given to? If you don't believe in the messengers, then how can you possibly believe correctly in the Day of Judgment? All of it is from the unseen. It's not things you can perceive, you can learn and figure out on your own. You have to be informed. If there's no message to inform you, how do you believe in it? If you don't believe none of that, then how are you going to believe in qadr, khayrihi wa sharrihi? You understand? So if you disbelieve in one, it necessitates just believe in the other ones. Because, for example, if you disbelieve in qadr, then you're disbelieving in what? In the ilm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're disbelieving that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had everything written down. The kitab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you disbelieve in it. Why? You don't believe in qadr. So you see how you don't believe in qadr, and in essence you don't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is why the first from the qadariyah, right? The hulat, yani from the qadariyah, those who said that Allah doesn't know what's going to happen until after it happens, this is why the Sahaba made takfir on them. This is why Ibn Umar, he said, if you see them, then inform them that I'm free from them and they free from me. I'm free from them and they free from me. Meaning that what? That was the Sahaba way of saying, they kuffar. We not on the same religion. You meet them, let them know we ain't on the same religion, because they kuffar, they not Muslim. Because they had a belief that Allah don't know what's going to happen until after it happened. That's the same belief as who? The Christians. Now, I believe in the Christians. The Christians said, وَعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, that Allah made Allah made the creation, and then when the creation started making all the sins that they was making, Allah got sad. Allah got sad of all of the transgressions of the creation and so on and so forth. This was prior to the time of Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam, and linked to why they were destroyed. Allah saw all the sin and all the transgression they were making, He became sad about it. SubhanAllah, this is saying what? Allah don't know what's going to happen until after it happens. Allah does things and He doesn't know the repercussion of those things. A'udhu billah. SubhanAllah. Amma yasifun. Allah Ta'ala is far above what they saying, what they describe. The point is that these pillars are interlinked. If you disbelieve in one, it necessitates your disbelief in the next. If you believe in one, it necessitates your belief in the next. That makes sense? So this is why these things are of tremendous importance. Of tremendous importance. So the Shaykh goes on and he says, "For deen لا يقوم إلا على هذه الأصول كلها مجتمعة." So the religion is not established except upon all of these fundamental principles, all of these pillars, all of them together. فمن أخل بشيء من هذه الأصول فلم يؤمن به. So whoever disbelieves in something, or he loses something from these fundamental principles, from these pillars, بطل إيمانه, then his iman is null and void. وَحَبِطَ عَمَلُهُ, and his actions are voided out. His religion is erroneous, is gone, and his actions are voided out. وَكَانَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ, and in the hereafter he is from the losers. He is from the losers. ومثل هذه الأصول الإيمان كما تقدم كأصول الشجرة. And these pillars of Iman, like was aforementioned, they are like the roots of a tree. They are like the roots of a tree. نعم. أرأيتم لو أن شجرة قطع أصولها كيف يكون شأنها? Have you not seen that if a tree, its roots were cut, how would the tree be? How would it stand? It'll die. It'll die. The roots are cut, then it will die. فهكذا شأن في الإيمان. Likewise, this is the state of Iman. إذا انتفى شيء من أصوله العظيمة التي لا قيام له إلا عليها. Likewise, in the state of Iman, if one of its pillars are removed or nullified, not established, if one of these great pillars are not established, in which the deen it stands upon. The Shaykh goes on and he mentions, he says, وَقَدْ جَاءَ تبيان هذه الأصول في كتاب الله عز وجل وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم, in that these pillars, they come clearly explained inside of the book of Allah and the sunnah of His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وعليه فإنه كلما عظم نصيب العبد وحفظه من الكتاب والسنة قراءة وتفقها وتأملا وتدبرا عظم حظه من هذه الأصول وزال نصيبه منها. Every time he says, and thus, and now we get back to our day to day, and thus an individual, every time his percentage, the percentage and portion of the slave is increased from the Qur'an and the Sunnah. Increase how? The Shaykh says, قراءة, reading it, وتفقها, having understanding of it, تأملا وتدبرا, contemplating over it, pondering over it. The more we learn about the book and the Sunnah, the more we understand what is inside of the book and the Sunnah, the more we have understanding and contemplation and pondering over the book and the Sunnah, then you will find that our Iman, for lack of a better term, will be increased. You will find that these pillars of Iman will be increased, and our portion of them, it will increase. نعم ولهذا فإن الناس يتفاوتون في الإيمان. And from this reality, we see that people are on different levels of Iman. People, they are on different levels of Iman. This is a very important reality, because look, the more one learns about Allah, the greater his Iman is going to be. The one who has knowledge about Allah is not like the one who doesn't have knowledge about Allah. The one who believes in Allah, but he doesn't have full understanding, full fiqh of Allah's names and attributes, of the meaning of each of his names. Now, he's not going to have the same level of fear and awe and reverence of Allah like the one who knows the meaning of his names. He's not going to love Allah as much as the one who knows the meanings of Allah Ta'ala's names. He's going to love him more. Why? Because he has more knowledge about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one who knows what's going to happen on the day of judgment, right, in detail, based on proofs and evidences, his preparation for it is going to be greater than the one who just knows about it in general. You understand? The one who knows about what that sirat is like and the description of it, how it's thin like a hair, sharper than the sharpest a razor, and so on and so forth, he's going to be scared. He's going to prepare for that. Now the one who doesn't know about that, doesn't live his life with, reflecting upon that, you won't find his actions are going to be the same. The one who knows that the first thing he'll be asked about Yawm al-Qiyamah is his salah, you'll find he's going to have more concentration on how he prays salah than the one who knows that we're going to be judged on Qiyamah just in general, right? So this makes sense. This reality makes sense, right? And this is a clear-cut reality, right? For example, I'll give you a low example. For a person who knows the biting power of a pit bull, for example, the nature that the pit bull, it bites, how its jaws lock, and it locks and it shreds and it tears, as opposed to a German Shepherd. German Shepherds, they what? They bite, let go, right? But the pit, that's not his manner of ripping the meat from the bone. He just to lock on and then tear it off. Correct? But the one who knows the biting power of a pit is going to have more caution when he sees a pit bull than a person who just knows dogs bite. Dogs bite. Right. But the bite from a Chihuahua is not like the bite from a pit bull. The bite from a Chihuahua is not like the bite from a Rottweiler. Right? For those who know that German Shepherds, when they attack, they go for your throat. A person is going to be more cautious when he sees that big German Shepherd coming than he would if he see one of the hot dog dogs. I don't know the name of them, but the long ones, right? When you see one of them coming, he's not going to be as scared because this is.
Dachshund.
Huh? What do you call it?
Dachshund. D-A-S-C-H-U-N-D.
Dachshund. Yeah. Yeah, that word. Nah, I'm the wiener dog. That word, right? But why? What differentiates their caution from these animals? The knowledge they have in these animals. This is how it works day in and day out. That makes sense? Remember we said truth is universal. Truth is truth. It doesn't change. These concepts don't apply here but not there. The more you know about something, the more the more caution you will have from it, for so on and so forth. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ who? Al-ulama. That verily those who truly fear Allah from His slaves, they are the ulama because they have knowledge. They have knowledge. So therefore their iman is what? Is higher. Because they have knowledge. Right? So the more iman you have, then the higher... the more knowledge you have, then the higher the what? The iman. The more understanding you have, then the higher the iman. So knowing that people are on various levels as relates to their knowledge and comprehension of the usul of iman shows us that what? That people's iman is on different levels. This is a very important concept. Why? Because when a person understands this simple concept, it will refute two groups from the groups of the people of innovation. It will refute two groups from the groups of the people of innovation. Who knows who they are?
The Qadariya and the Murjiya. And the Murjiya.
The Murjiya is one of them.
Oh, the Mu'tazila. Jamia. The Ashari.
I'm looking for two groups in particular. And this is as relates to Iman. As relates to Iman and Iman going up and going down. The Khawarij. Ahsan. Because one of the things that the Khawarij and the Murji'ah have in common, I want you to understand this point. Write this down. The Murji'ah and the Khawarij, what they have in common is that they see Iman as being one thing. They see Iman as being one thing. Either you have it or you don't. They understand that Iman is one thing. Right? This is why the Murji'ah say that the Iman of any one of us is the same as the Iman of Abu Bakr. The same as the Iman of the great Sahaba. Why? Because with them, either you got it or you don't have it.
But it's not the same.
Of course it's not the same. No way. Because Iman is of different levels. That's the reality of it. That's the reality of it. It's at different levels. There's many proofs of evidence which show that Iman goes up, it goes down at different levels. But the point is that they both agree that Iman is one thing. This is why the Murji'ah, and where they differ is that the Murji'ah say that Iman is not affected. Once you have it, that's it. Nothing's going to affect it in a bad way. Nothing's going to decrease it. Why? Because it's one thing. It's not subject to increase and decrease. You got it. So this is why they say no matter what you do, it's okay. You still, nothing harms you. Nothing harms your iman. Right?
They're wrong in that.
Of course they're wrong in that. They're totally wrong in that. One of the Salafy asks one of the imams, at the Murji'ah say Iman don't go up, it don't go down. What do you say to this? He said, I say to this, and this comes in Sahih Bukhaari. He said, I say to this, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Sibab al-Muslim fusuq wa qitaluhu kufr. He said, I say that the Prophet ﷺ said, verbally abusing a Muslim is a heinous sin, and killing him is disbelief. You see the point of reference there? That's fiqh, mashallah. Why? Because they said Iman is not affected. No matter what you do, Iman is not affected. He brought this one hadith that showed, yes it is. Because if you verbally abuse a Muslim, that's a heinous sin. That's fisq. That's a heinous sin. But if you kill him, that's kufr. It's disbelief. Shows that what? That actions affect you. If you kill a Muslim and you say killing him is permissible, now what? You're not a Muslim no more. And if you kill a Muslim and you say it's not permissible to kill him, but I killed him, then what? Then you have brought an action of kufr. You have agreed with the kuffar in their actions. Because who killed the Muslims? The kuffar. So now you brought kufr amali. You brought kufr of actions. You're still a Muslim, but you brought kufr of actions. That makes sense? So the hadith refutes them. That no, iman changes. Because if you do this, it'll drop you here. If you do this other thing, it'll drop you there. It'll take you out. So that's a refutation on it. Okay, the Khawarij, on the other hand, they agree that iman can be affected. They agree. But because they believe iman is one thing, when you do an infraction, they say what? Then all of iman leaves. Person does a major sin, all the iman is gone. Now he's a kafir. Why? Because they say iman is one thing. So it's not going to be affected by your evil deed. It's going to be taken out by your evil deed because it's just one thing. But what's the reputation upon them? The hadith of the Sahabi who he had an issue when it came to drinking. He had an issue when it came to drinking. So much so that he had to be beat for drinking. So another one of the Sahaba, because of his ghira, because of his jealousy for the religion, he started talking bad to him. What are you doing? And he started scolding him. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "La ta'inu shaytan ala akhik." Don't help the shaitan against your brother. Don't help the shaitan against your brother. Show you that what? That sometimes when a person does wrong, he knows he's done wrong, or she has done wrong, and she knows she has done wrong. Don't rub their face in it. Don't badger them about it. Don't harp on it. Keep scolding them and making them feel bad and berating them because of it. Because this is what the Prophet ﷺ, he called this helping shaitan against your brother. Because now what do you want? You want to break them? They know they did wrong. They already feel bad. You want to keep reminding them, want to keep beating them over the head with it? What are you trying to do? Break them? What do you want to do? You want them to leave Islam? What are you trying to accomplish? Really, what are you trying to accomplish? The person knows he's wrong. The person's sad, remorseful, crying, and you still, man, you see what happened? You see what you did? You see. Of course they see. They upset. They're crying about it, so on and so forth. Ala kulli hal, the point is that what? What was he doing? He was drinking alcohol. Drinking alcohol is a minor sin or a major sin? It's a major sin. It's a major sin. What did the Prophet ﷺ say? Don't help the shaitan against your brother. Verily, innahu yuhibbullah wa rasulah. Don't help the shaitan against your brother because verily, he loves Allah and His Messenger. He loves Allah and His Messenger. Which affirmed that he had what? He had faith. He had iman. Even though he drank alcohol, he had iman. Which is a refutation on the Khawarij to show that what? That major sins do not take you out of Islam. Now, these are two hadith. Two hadith that have refuted two groups of innovation as relates to iman and their misunderstanding of iman. Now we reflect back on the more we have knowledge of the Sunnah, of the Qur'an and the Sunnah, contemplate, read it, contemplate, reflect, have understanding of it, then the stronger our iman will be. Now, because you will understand the nature of it, what it is in reality, so on and so forth. That makes sense? But these things are of tremendous importance as they will help to safeguard us from the pitfalls that others have fallen into. So in any event, so when the Shaykh is saying that this shows that imans of different levels, it refutes those people. Because it shows you everybody's on different levels of iman. Not everybody's on the same level. Some believers got stronger iman than other believers. Now, and this is of extreme importance that we know and we understand and we realize this. The Shaykh mentions, he says, فَإِنَّهُ كُلَّمَا عَظُمَتْ عِنْدَ الْعَبْدِ تَمَكُّنَتْ فِي قَلْبِهِ شَوَاهِدْ وَالدَّلَائِلْ وَالْبَرَاهِينَ وَالْحُجَجْ عَلَى هَذِهِ الْأُصُولِ. Every time he increases, the abd, the slave is increased, with the evidences, the supporting proofs and evidences and hujjaj and so on and so forth, then it will solidify the iman inside of his heart. It will solidify these pillars, these articles of faith inside of his heart. وَتَزُولُ بِهِ شُبْهَةً الَّتِي يُلْقِيهَا الشَّيْطَانِ, and it will remove the doubts that shaitan brings. The doubts that shaitan tries to put inside of the heart, it will remove it. Now, the more understanding that we have of what iman is, it will remove what is not, the doubts of what it is not. وَزَادَ إِيمَانُهُ رُسُوخًا وَقُوَّةً وَتَمَكُّنًا, and his iman will be increased, it will be fortified, it will be more firm, it will be more strong, it will be more solid and stable inside of his heart. The more what? The more he learns. Now, a person will come in and say, well, what's the proof that the Qur'an, knowing about the Qur'an, and the Sunnah and the like, increases you in iman? What's the proof for that? That the more you read the Qur'an, the more increased you are in iman? What's the proof? That it means the more you read it, understand it, comprehend it, and have fahm and fiqh and so on and so forth. What's the proof for that? Allah Ta'ala says, وَإِذَا مَا أُنزِلَتْ سُورَةٌ فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَقُولُ أَيُّكُمْ زَادَتْهُ هَذِهِ إِيمَانًا. Allah Ta'ala says what means, and when there is revealed a surah, you have from them those who say, which of you has this increased in iman? Which of you has this surah increased them in their iman? Which shows that what? That the surah, that the verses, the chapters, they increase us in iman. They increase us in iman. When we read them and we have understanding, when we contemplate, when we ponder, this is how the iman, it increases. فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا. Allah Ta'ala says, and as far as those who believe, verily those who believe, or as far as those who believe, then their iman is increased. Their iman is increased. وَهُمْ يَسْتَبْشِرُونَ, and they, show us what he say? They rejoice over it. And that they rejoice over it. That's for who? Those who believe. The flip side. وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ, but those who have disease in their heart, those who have corruption in their heart, meaning who? The hypocrites. Those hypocrites. When the ayat come down, do the ayat increase the hypocrites inside of their iman? Does it? It's a trick question. Does it increase? Do the ayat increase the hypocrite in iman?
They don't have any iman.
I said no, because they don't have iman. They don't believe because they got inside their heart kufr. So no, it doesn't increase them. I said. Allah Ta'ala says, وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ فَزَادَتْهُمْ رِجْسًا إِلَى رِجْسِهِمْ وَمَاتُمْ وَهُمْ كَافِرُونَ. Allah Ta'ala says what means, but those who there is a disease inside of their heart, the disease of what? Disbelief, hypocrisy, so on and so forth, it adds suspicion and doubt to their suspicion and doubt and disbelief, and they die while they are disbelievers, kafirun. They die and they are disbelievers. For the Qur'an, it increases us in iman. The more we reflect upon it, the more we concentrate about it, it increases us in iman. And in particular, we will see over and over again explanation of these pillars of iman. And the more understanding we have of the book and the sunnah, the more we contemplate over it and have knowledge of it, then our iman, it will increase. And when we look at it from this standpoint, then undoubtedly these are from the important lessons that we all have to know. These are from those important lessons that will help us in our day to day. And then, before getting into the first pillar of iman, the Shaykh Hafidhahullah Ta'ala, he brings a very beautiful and outstanding example to show us how reflecting on the book and the sunnah, how reflecting on the ayat of the Qur'an will show us these pillars. Only if we knew but where to look, it would show us these pillars over and over and over and over again. But bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, we will say that to the next sitting. فنكتفي بهذا القدر وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وجزاكم الله خيرا.